First, we have to prep a few more parts, then we will reassemble the gearbox for this 1968 Datsun pickup truck. I am the one and only infamous Kentucky Yankee, without a doubt, at your service. I have been cleaning up the transmission some, and this is what the case is looking like. I'll show you what I've been using for it. This little unit right here has been doing a swell job. If you have watched previous videos, you know I wasn't going to take this assembly apart, but changed my mind. Not taking it apart because I think there's anything wrong with it. It's because I want to clean up the bearing inside of here. I just want everything cleaned up nice. So this is just sliding right off easy. Must have just been stuck a little bit right there. This one just came right off. Nice. Let's just see what happens if I just tap a little bit. I'm trying to avoid using a press just out of laziness. I don't feel like dealing with it. Aha! And why should I if I don't have to? Look at that. Those taps did not hurt a thing. Take all this off. Keeping everything in order while I clean it, I'll just put it on this piece of hose. That way I won't get confused. We've got another little part here. It needs to come off. The reason I'm taking this off is because I want to replace that bearing. And there it is. Bet I can just smack this bearing out of this housing. Watch here. I bet I can just smack it. Let's see. Smack. Hey now. What'd I tell you? Now, watch this. Installation will be much easier. Oh no. Oh no. Got a little cocky. I got a little cocky there, but it's in. It's in. And in case you didn't know, I was heating it up on the wood stove. This was not the best decision I ever made in my life. Painting this over my burn barrel, the wind picked up. Now I have ashes in my paint. I guess it's a good thing we're not building a show truck because this will not be getting redone. Every single part for this transmission is sitting right here in front of your very eyes. So let's get this party started. Let's see if we can slip this bearing on. I just want to see if this works. I don't know if it will or not. And that's a hard no. If it didn't want to cooperate, I would have put it on the press, but this was easy enough. This was supposed to get a flat washer and then this type of clip. Next, we'll insert this into the transmission housing right here. Nice. Anytime you don't have to use brute force, don't. A little assembly lube for our bearing here. Why are you using assembly lube, Benny, instead of gear oil? Because I had to order it. A synchronizer. Heavily lubed needle bearings. I'm not liking the assembly lube, so I'm just using this straight 30 weight oil. Our needle bearings. Next, our gear. A synchronizer. On both sides of these, we have to install these springs right here, and they fit like that. They have to be in between these. They can't go down in the slot. The ends can't. This will slip on just like so. You can't get it backwards. If you do, you won't be able to get the snap ring on here. It'll cover up the slot. We need to line everything up right there like that. Now for our little dogs here. There are 3. Next we'll install this piece right here. And there you have it. Snap ring. Needle bearing. Gear. Synchronizer. I just had to adjust your view to make it a little more pleasurable to watch. This piece. Synchronizer, and we've got to line up our slots with that. There you go. Some kind of bearing spacer, it would appear. Whoop! So next, a bearing, and why not another gear? Let's carefully drop our assembly in here now. Little ball bearing. And what would appear to be a spacer. Perhaps some of you will find this satisfying to watch. The trick is to get it perfectly squared. And a snap ring. I always make sure they're in the groove by making them slip around like that. Our bearing and housing. Four bolts with locking washers. Next, our reverse idler gear is what we'll call it. Snap ring. This shaft will go from the bell housing in. The assembly will go in just like this. Always check to make sure everything's running smooth as silk, and it is. A couple shift forks. Here's one and two. First shift shaft. Roll pin. Next, our little detent piece here. Second shift shaft. Roll pin. Another one of these little things. Another shaft. Now for our detents, a little ball bearing, a spring. This one will take a longer bolt. I already threw the ball bearing in this one, a spring. This one will take a shorter bolt. Ball bearing, spring, and a longer bolt. I made a wonderful mistake. This should have went on before these shift shafts. I'm going to try and do a little shortcut. That gear just barely slides through there. And then like so. I've got to slip this on now. Our little ball there. Speedo gear. Lock washer. Nut. Now the moment of truth. Let's see what happens. Roll pin. Our reverse gear. Snap ring. Is this the same as an impact wrench? A couple new seals for the tail shaft. A little assembly lube for these. Why not? Shift shaft into our tail shaft. Probably leave it like that until I get it lined up. Ah, I hate that. It happens. Ah, you rascal. Huh. Oh, there we go. Not bad. Not bad at all. Oh, we got an issue up here. Ha ha ha. That's your issue. Wasn't turned the right way. The correct way to use this silicone is to tighten the bolts up finger tight. Wait 1 hour, come back, and torque to spec. Another common mistake folks make with silicone is you need to wait 24 hours before you fire it up, put oil in it or anything like that to make sure it's cured out good. Otherwise, you'll have leaks and you'll blame it on the silicone. Our speedometer drive gear has an old sloppy O-ring on it. We'll get rid of that. Install a nice new one. A little assembly lube, just slip it in without it tearing up. In the hole she goes. I've got to fix this sensor up before we install it. It's messed up here on the end where the wires go, so I'm going to try and solder it, a new wire on it. And now this side, the same way. That should work fine. I like to hot glue stuff like this because it'll seal out the dirt, keep the wires from corroding. And I've just found that hot glue works very well for something like this. Oh, I'm getting a little crazy with it. Won't hurt a thing. Look at that. I'll sop around there, man. That'll hold the wires from bending and breaking too. That's a little ridiculous though. So I did get out of hand, but it will be sealed up. A little heat shrink to hold the wires in place. I'm not putting the ends on yet because I'm not sure what kind of terminal ends I'm going to use on this yet. I've got to get this little tiny O-ring stretched on around this. It only needs to be big enough to be bigger than these threads, just a hair bigger. Just in case. Why not a little added sealer? How many people are going to say, you're supposed to wait an hour and torque at this spec? Because I'm just driving them home. Maybe one or two. This seal will have to be installed on the back side of this, right here. I am not thrilled about this, but you are not going to find gaskets for this transmission. It's not a turbo 350. Just like putting icing on a cake. And a little assembly lube for the seal. I'll go back and torque these bolts later. We now have a fresh transmission. We have a fresh engine. I've got a clutch kit on its way. Don't forget to subscribe for updates. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.